Good afternoon, viewers. I want to welcome you to this Executive Wellness Podcast. We came a little bit late into the program. We had to sort out some in-house activities. I want to hope that you are having a wonderful weekend and that you are having a nice time with your family, with your loved ones, especially on this wonderful day. Today we want to speak on a very important subject, and it is a subject that requires our collective effort. One man or one individual alone cannot effectively make a change in this direction. We have to come together as one force and effect that change within our society. So today I will be speaking on the subject of our collective efforts in promoting human dignity. Now, the subject human dignity, I just truly hope I will not be reading too much from my script, but I will be able to speak from my heart and be able to point out some very vital issues that are connected to human dignity. If there is one subject that I have been looking at for quite some time now, I cannot precisely say when I began to really focus on human dignity, but it's been a subject that has been brooding on my mind for quite a while. If you look into our society, our community, our churches, our political space, our family units, whatever space you want to, or wherever you find human activity, you will see a lot of abuse of human dignity. And this is something we all need to come together and really find a way to at least ameliorate the effects that it's having on people's mental well-being. Now, like I said, we want to talk about human dignity. And to begin, I want to ask, what do we really mean when we say human dignity? Now, I'm going to give you a very simple definition, and then we'll begin to spread we begin to expand our knowledge from that point. Now, dignity is a person's inherent virtue. It is more recognized as a person's self-worth, self-respect, or personal significance. Now, I can therefore now say that virtue is a person's intrinsic character that reveals his or her personhood. Dignity is about our virtue. It's about the content, not just the container of our personhood. It's about what we have on the inside of us that is always finding expression in our day-to-day engagement with people. It is how we relate with others. It is how we conceive ourselves. It is how we have decided to express our total makeup in the midst of our community. Now, somebody made a very profound statement, and that is Leo Tolstoy. He was an amazing philosopher. and he made this profound statement, and I'm going to quote it. Leo Tolstoy says, if you feel pain, you are alive. But if you feel other people's pain, then you are a human being. Oh, what a powerful quote from Leo Tolstoy. Now, I want to ask you, do you really feel the pain of your next door neighbor? Do you really feel the anguish, the sorrow, the dejection, the burden, the stress, the anguish, the trouble, the challenges, and the marginalization of your next door neighbor? That is where the conversation of human dignity begins from. There is an aspect of it that deals with you as a person, but there is another aspect of dignity that deals with how much empathy and compassion that you are willing to bestow on other people. Are you really human? If I may ask, have you really looked at yourself from top down and ask yourself, how much of humanity do I have operational or present within me? How much do I love to help, to associate, and to interact in a meaningful way with other people? How much am I willing to give to ensure that my neighbor that is very close to me is able to smile? If there is something you feel like achieving today, at least before today, closes up, I want you to at least make somebody smile. Make somebody feel as though they are truly human. Are you a human being? Do you feel the pain of other people? Now, this is the subject that I think is very, very timely at this time. We all know that the global community is in an unimaginable season of crisis. There is crisis everywhere, all over the world. No nation has been spared of this crisis since the era of the pandemic. In some nations, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, it has been, those crises has multiplied in multiple fold. And we see images all over the places. We see the suffering of people. We see the anguish of people. We see the stress that people are going through on a daily basis. We have seen occasion when, because people are in a very good job, I will put that good job in a quote. I don't know how you want to define the goodness of that job, but because that job is able to put at least food on their table and is able to give them a shelter, they are going through all kinds of abuse from their employer. They are on a daily basis being dehumanized by their employer. They are abused. They are told what they've never heard about themselves before. They are called all kinds of names, all in the name that the employer felt the employee does not have a choice. But I want to tell you you do have a choice. Don't let any man trample on your dignity. There is nothing that is worse in life than a damaged dignity. If there is anything I love to protect, that I love to secure, that I am willing to pay any price for, it is the maintenance of my dignity. I will not allow you to trample on it. Immediately when I begin to sense an environment where my dignity is being maligned, the next thing you will see me is I will quietly, if I don't want to cause crisis in the place, I will quietly withdraw from the place. Because when people are able to trample on your dignity, they have taken your power away. That is what makes you human. That is what gives you courage. That is what makes you a person of value. That is what makes people to want to fall in love with you. So what does being human, what does it mean? Is it because we can talk, we can run, we can walk, or we can go to work, or engage in intellectual discourse, or even coexist with other fellow humans? Is it because of our body structure, or is it because we possess a memory that keeps details of our past behaviors? How do you want to define a human from other primates, like monkeys, like gorilla, like baboon? Since many of these primates could perform some essential functions that I have just mentioned above. Is our being human related to our ability to perform the function of being able to talk as I am talking to you currently, or because the way I look, or because I have 5 or 10 fingers, if you want to say, because I have 2 eyes, I have 1 mouth, I can construct a sentence? Is that what being human means? Is that the whole definition of human? Do you even know that some of these primates, like a gorilla, do you know that gorilla can actually communicate? Gorilla uses sign language. So communication is not just limited to human beings alone. Animals have a way they communicate to themselves. So I do not want to agree that that is what makes us human. If all these essential functions that I have mentioned are not the thing that makes us human, then what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be human? Are you truly a human being, or you have a tendency to be inhumane in the way you treat others? What makes you to be a human? How much empathy do you have for people around you? Do you feel their pain? Are you not secretly saying behind them that it is God that is avenging on them? Come on, we need to get over it. Let's demonstrate humanity to one another. Let's show that we care for one another. Let's show that your concern is my concern. Let's, at least for once, put down all our differences and look at one another as truly human. Remember, Lloyd Tolstoy says, if you feel pain, you are alive. Of course, we do feel pain, and that is what tells you that you are still living, if you can feel pain. But when you are able to feel the pain of others, you are not just knowing that you are alive, you are also knowing that somebody beside you also have the right or has the right to live. So I want to ask, what then is the essence of life? Why do we have to live? What is the purpose of life? What is the meaning of life? Why do we wake up every morning, go to work, get ourselves involved in many activities, come back at evening time, sleep, and wake up the following day and continue the same process all over again every day of our life? What is the essence of going through all this stress every day? For me, I don't know about you. I have come to simply realize that the essence of life is not to show superiority to other people. It's not to flaunt your wealth, your assets, how much money you have in your bank account. It is not to humiliate people with your resources. The essence of life for me, and I believe you will agree with me, is to serve humanity. And I love the way Aristotle puts it. Aristotle says the essence of life is to serve others and do good. Have you done any good today to your fellow neighbor? Have you made somebody smile today? Or are you in the habits of making people to weep and cry? If you are the cause of people's daily weeping, you need to ask for forgiveness. What good have you done to humanity? What good have you done in your community? What good have you done in that place of worship that you go on a daily basis? What is your purpose for being a community leader? What good have you done since you became a political figure? What good? What is your purpose for aspiring to lead a nation, to lead a community, to lead a state? What is your purpose? Why do you want to be a leader? Why do you want to be a man or a woman of influence? If your reason for occupying any of this position is not to serve people, listen to me, you are in a wrong place. And the better you step away from that position, the earlier you step away from that position, the better it is for you. So what do you need to do to uphold and promote human dignity in our society? Now, I have reflected on this because I really feel this is a subject that we need to have a conversation about. The amount of inhumanity, if you can permit me to use that English, the amount of insensitivity to the plight of humanity of our next door neighbor that is out there is so alarming. And I am not sparing anybody. I am also talking to church leaders. I am speaking to institutions that are run by men, both Christian, Muslims, whatever institution there is. The amount of indignity that is accorded to people is troubling. And I think we need to stop it. And the only way we can stop it is for us to come together and really have a conversation about this. I have thought over it, and I have come to realization that there is just one thing that you really need to uphold and promote the dignity of other people, and that is courage. You will agree with me that it takes courage to be forgiven. It takes courage not to take revenge when you have the right and even the means to take revenge. It takes courage to repay good with evil. I mean, to repay evil with good. It takes courage for you to forgive those who have offended you. Somebody who is not courageous cannot respect human dignity. When you see somebody who tramples on people's right to be dignified, they are lacking courage. They don't have courage. They don't have courage to be who they can truly become. They don't have the courage to change their circumstances. They don't have the courage to change their situation. And Maya Angelou, that wonderful poet, summarizes the power of courage. And she says, without courage, we cannot practice any other virtue with consistency. We can't be kind without courage. We cannot be true without courage. We cannot be merciful without courage. We cannot be generous without courage. And she says, we cannot be honest without courage. It takes courage to be kind to people. It takes courage to be true to people. It takes courage to be merciful to people. It takes courage to be generous to people. And it takes courage to be honest to people. The subject of courage has made me to reflect upon the greatest and the most courageous leader that has ever lived. I have studied the life of many leaders, but I have come to realize that the greatest leaders of all leaders and the most courageous leader that I have ever seen in my life is no other person than Jesus Christ of Nazareth himself. Jesus Christ of Nazareth proposed 4 major principles that deals with courage. And I'm going to be sharing that with you in a moment. The moment you can honor and obey these principles in your life, then you have passed the test of a courageous leader. The number one principle of courage, as it connects to human dignity, is the principle of turning the other cheek when people smack you on one cheek. Even though when people smack you on your cheek, in defense you can retaliate. You can defend yourself. In fact, the law of the land even says you have the right to defend yourself. But do you know what the courageous people do? They turn in the other cheek. It takes courage to do that. And that is the beginning or the starting point of honoring and respecting human dignity. Another principle that Jesus taught that is connected to human dignity is the principle of the golden rule. And what does the golden rule say? Do unto others as you will want other people to do to you. What you cannot or what you do not wish people to do for you, please don't do it to others. The insult you cannot take, don't give it to others. That is the golden rule. If that is the only rule we want to obey in this global community, I think that will bring all the peace that is required to stop all the wars that we have in this world today. Do unto others as you would want them to do back to you. Another principle that was proposed by Jesus was the principle of walking the extra mile. When somebody makes you to go through a mile for doing something that you do not deserve, the Bible says don't complain. Go another mile with the person. Listen to me, people of God. These are not common things that for common people. It takes courageous people to take these steps. It takes people who have confidence in themselves and a very definite belief in themselves to walk another mile with their persecutors. And lastly, the last principle that was proposed by Jesus Christ of Nazareth is the principle of giving up your other cloak. The master says when somebody requests for your coat, so don't just give him the coat, give him the second one too. Listen to me, it takes courage to do that. Anybody who is wanting to malign you, to make you feel little in your sight, don't repay evil for evil. Don't pay evil for evil. Rather, try as much as possible to do good in such circumstances. So therefore, promoting human dignity involves fostering respect, equality, and empowerment for all human beings, regardless of their background, education, creed, and race. So here is what I believe should be your own personal principle. As we continue to explore the subjects of human dignity, this is where I want you to begin to formulate your own personal principle. You need to begin to say to yourself that I don't need to prove to anyone. I don't need to prove anything to anyone, or I don't need to prove my worth to anyone. All I need to do is to keep working on myself until the best version of me emerges. There is a quote that is close to it. The quote is anonymous. It says, "You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Just keep becoming the best version of yourself. Just keep working on yourself. You may not be good today, but you can be good tomorrow. Even when you are good, you can be better until the best version of you eventually emerges. So what do you need to do? You need to embrace self-dignity. And self-dignity in itself, I will say, begins with self-accountability. You need to be accountable to yourself. Don't be a man who wakes up without rendering the account of how you spent your day. Be accountable to yourself. Be accountable to people. Don't just say it doesn't concern anybody. It concerns all of us. As a political leader, as a social media influencer, or whatever capacity you find yourself, in any area where you are influencing people, you are accountable to all of us. You are not just accountable to all of us, you are also accountable to yourself. And one of the best quotes on self-accountability that I've ever come across, unfortunately, I don't know who said the quote. The quote is anonymous, but it's so powerful. And the quote goes this way: once you carry your own water, you will learn the value of every drop. I remember many years ago when I was still living under my father's roof. And when I am all by myself in my room, maybe on a Sunday when my father, after everybody has come back from the church, when he doesn't have to go to work, in the afternoon, in the broad daylight, I can decide to switch on my lights in my room. Of course, because it's my room, I will switch on the lights even while there is light everywhere. I will just for the fun of it, I will switch on the lights. My father will come in, he will switch it off. At the moment he leaves, I will switch on the light again. I just felt comfort in switching on the lights. But I didn't know the man was protecting something, and that is his own ability and capacity to pay the bills. He is the one paying the bills. So he knows where the shoe pinches. So each time the light is switched on, he has the responsibility to come and switch it off. And listen to me, this is very amazing. When I became married and I have my own family, and I have the privilege of moving abroad and to stay in my own apartment. Do you know that now that I have my own family, in our house, the only place you see the light on, particularly in the night, when you will expect the light should be everywhere, is where we are seated. If everybody's in the sitting room, every other light in the house will be switched off. The only place where you will see light will be in the room. And each time my children try to behave the way I used to behave, I will switch it off. I will tell them, you don't know how much this costs. You don't know how much dollars I am paying for this. Now, they cannot relate with that. But because they are not yet carrying their own water. Now, my father carried his own water. So he knew the value of every drop. When it came to my own turn that I had to carry my water, I knew the value of it. I guarded it very jealously. And I'm sure when my children eventually grows up and they are able to carry their own water, they will be able to value every drop of it. Now, what am I saying in essence? What I am saying in essence is that we need to embrace our self-dignity by preserving our self-accountability. Now listen to me, I'm going to round up in a moment, but we still have a very long way to go. If you are a leader or you are in a position of influence, this section is for you. I always want you to remember that as you are given the privilege to occupy that position, that you should, number one, always remember to uphold the basic rights of people under your leadership. And what are the basic rights that I'm talking about? You need to ensure that people working for you, if you are an employer of labor, have access to fundamental human needs. And what are those needs? The need for food, the need for water, the need for shelter, the need for healthcare, the need for education. These are basic human needs. No human being should be deprived of all these basic needs. This is what Abraham Maslow called the hierarchy of needs. At the bottom rung of the ladder of the hierarchy of need is our physiological need. The need to be able to have what to eat, the need to be able to find a shelter, the need to be able to find a way where our basic need can be met. You are not just to provide this basic necessity of life, you are also expected to advocate for policies that protect these rights globally and within your community, as they form the core foundation of human dignity. Listen to me, if you are the employer of labor and you cannot guarantee this basic need of people, you are an abuser, you are abusing people, and you need to stop it. These are needs that should not be deprived any human. The need for basic necessities of life. And our leaders, our political leaders, knows this, particularly in Africa. I'm talking to Sub-Saharan Africa now. The political leaders, they know this very well. And that is why they know that the only weapon they have to control you is to deprive you of this need. And when they provide just a little portion of that need, you begin to see them as a messiah. In Sub-Saharan Africa, we have even become so comfortable with our abusers. We even hail them. We even fight for them. We even protect their imbecility on the social media. But this is not the way life should go. We have to guarantee the need for safety for people, the need for shelter, the need for daily food, the need for water, and the need for education, and the need for healthcare. These are basic human needs. If you are a political leader and you are able to provide this, you have not done anything yet. This is what a government has to do to its citizens. These are the basic rights of the citizens. And you have not done any favor to anybody. This is your responsibility as a leader. It is high time we stop seeing leaders who has done some of these things as though they have done the best thing in the world. It is their duty to make life comfortable for the citizen. Number two, if you're a leader and you're in a position of influence, you always need to remember that you need to foster equality. You need to promote diversity and inclusion among people. We need to begin to combat discrimination based on race, gender, religion, or other identities. We need to stop it. Let us for once see one another as human. Let's forget all about all our differences. Let's come to the table and let's have a conversation on how we can move our society forward. Let's promote inclusive environments in our workplace, in our schools, in our communities, where everyone's voice is valued. Number three, we need to empower people through education. One area or one geopolitical zone in Nigeria that is really backward in this area is the northern part of Nigeria, the northeast or the northwest of Nigeria, and even some areas in the north central. There is so much deprivation of education in these areas, and the political leaders knows that is a weapon in their hand. They are deliberately depriving the people of education so that they can continue to keep them as political stooges for their political agenda. We need to empower people. We need to send people to school. When you educate people, you have liberated their mind. The greatest weapon that any unkind leader can use against his people is to keep them in ignorance. So when you see a leader who doesn't promote education, it's a weapon not to free you from your cage of slavery. We need to empower people through education. We need to provide opportunity for learning and skill development. We need to promote and enable education autonomy. We need to promote critical thinking in our society. Not a situation whereby a leader will speak and nobody will be able to contest or will be able to contradict what the leader said. There should be space, there should be room for engagement, there should be room for dialogue, there should be room for interaction, there should be room for exchange of ideas. These are the things that move nations forward. We should now begin to concentrate our ability in contributing meaningfully to this society. Another thing you need to do as a leader in a position of influence is to always remember to respect autonomy and boundaries. Respect people's rights to choose what they want for themselves. Respect people's rights to define their boundaries. Honor individual choices and personal boundaries. Encourage self-determination by creating systems that allows people to make decisions about their life without coercion. We need to respect boundaries. In many nations in sub-Saharan Africa, boundaries are not respected. Personal boundaries are not respected. People's autonomy are not guaranteed. And these are the basic rights of human beings. We need to be willing to give it out. Again, number 5, if you are a leader and you are in a position of influence, always remember to promote fair economic system. What do I mean by this? You need to support fair wages. You need to guarantee safe working conditions. You need to provide opportunities for economic mobility. You need to promote economic justice and reduce exploitation. And in addition, enhance people's self-worth. That is what we should be doing as human beings to our fellow human beings. The moment we withdraw our ability to do this, then we want to turn people to slave. We want to make people to be slave, even in their own land. Another thing you need to do if you are in a position of leadership or a position of influence is always to remember to cultivate empathy and compassion. I have said this repeatedly in this podcast, and we cannot overemphasize the role of empathy and compassion. Empathy is not the same thing as sympathy. Sympathy is simply, oh, sorry, that's your problem. Sorry, I hope you get better. But empathy is, oh, this is what you are going through. How can we go through this together? How can I help you to come out of this, taking the journey with you? That is what empathy is. Some people in their entire life, they have never demonstrated the spirit of compassion to others. They have never shown any empathy to the plight of others. But if we must live as a community of human beings, we must be able to demonstrate empathy and compassion to other people. We must show kindness to people. We must show to people that we know how the shoe is pinching them. We must be able to tell people that we truly care for them. Mark Twain says, and I quote, he said, kindness is a language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. You don't need to go to the mountain top or to the top of a house to begin to shout to people how kind you are, as we have many church leaders doing today. You don't have to do that to show how kind you are to people. Kindness by itself, the blind can see it, the deaf can hear about it. That is the only language they can hear. You don't need any sign language to tell them. A blind man can see a man who is truly compassionate. And a deaf man, even though he doesn't hear any other thing, can hear the language of a compassionate man. Another thing you need to do if you're a leader or a man in position of influence, you always need to remember to protect vulnerable population. For example, those who are suffering from depression, those who are going through economic disempowerment, those who are going through one kind of marginalization or the other. We need to make sure we put structures and policies in place to protect these vulnerable people. We need to advocate for the dignity of the marginalized groups, such as refugees, the elderly people, people with disabilities, and others through targeted support and legal protections. Leo Tolstoy again says, and I quote, he says, the sole meaning of life is to serve humanity. Listen to me, if you are working and your service is not unto humanity, you are only wasting your time. Your labor will be wasted. It will be burned with fire. It will not stand the test of time. The only people whose labor will stand the test of time are the people who are truly giving their service for the progress of humanity. Another thing you need to do if you are a leader or in a position of influence is to always remember to encourage ethical leadership. As a leader, you must be ethical. You must not be a corrupt leader. I remember a situation, and I know many of people will relate to this thing I'm going to share. My wife needed to register at school. She needed to make some payments with some people. Whilst the government has said that this is the amount that she should pay, do you know that what the people in those offices are demanding for personal, I don't even know what to call it, because you can't even say it's a bribe, because you just have to pay it. There is no way you can get the approval without making the payment, and you have to make the payment in cash. And the payment is even more than twice the amount that the government is asking to pay. Why some people may say that the government should not be blamed for that, but I will still come to blame the government, because if you say you want to become a leader, the buck must stop at your table. What I think the government should do at that instance is to provide system in place to check those anomalies. Why will somebody who wants to provide service to the society, a school that will educate children that needs to go to school, and somebody sitting there in one office will say, before I can register your school, you have to make this payment? That is unethical. And it happens in every offices across the nation. This needs to stop. This is an abuse of position. This is an abuse of a privileged position you are occupying. You know, some people love to thrive in the middle of chaos. If you are always rejoicing when there is dysfunctionality in the society, you are an enemy of the state. If you belong to an organization and the only time you are happy is when there is dysfunctionality within that organization because it serves your selfish interests, you are an enemy of that organization. And the earlier we stop it, the better it is for us. Somebody was sharing with me recently here in the US. He told me that while he was, I don't even know which position, which one of these government agencies that he was working for when he was in Nigeria. And we were just talking generally about the decadence that is in the society. And he was sharing personally with me that it will take somebody who truly have the mind of God to change the society. And he was relating with me that while they were in that agency, that when they catch somebody who has broken the law, he said the law of the state says they should collect 500 naira, but they will end up collecting 5,000 naira from that person. That was even a long time ago, because I don't know for how long he has been in the US. This is part of indignity that humans are according to their fellow human beings. And I believe this is the right time for all this to stop. And the only way they can stop is when we all come together collectively to say an end must come to this. This is what we do as School of Transformational Leadership. We are not here to compete with anybody. We are not here to join in the paparazzi. We are here to silently and quietly re-engineer our society. And we believe that it can be done because we have seen it done in other places. And we will achieve it by the grace of God. You must encourage ethical leadership. You must support leaders and institutions that prioritize human dignity over power or profit. Any organization that is promoting power or profit above the dignity of human being, I honestly believe that such an organization or institution should be brought under scrutiny for a reorganization of their policies. And number 9, if you are a leader or you find yourself in a position of leadership or influence, you must remember to be a voice to the voiceless. Let's create platforms for underrepresented groups so that they have the opportunity to share their own stories, their own perspective, and ensure that they are heard and respected. Let's be a voice to people who cannot speak for themselves. Let's advocate for human rights. Let's advocate for human dignity. Let's say no to inhuman behavior on our fellow human being. And we can only do it collectively. And last but not the least, number 10, if you are a leader and you are in a position of leadership or in a position of influence, you must remember to model dignity in your daily life. You can actually model it. You can model it for others to see so that people can begin to copy your good behavior. It has to begin with somebody. I have one common refrain that is a definition of all that I pursue in life. And it was a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. And the quote says, "Be the change that you want to see in the world." Don't look for the change. You just be that change. And then from that point, begin to extend the change. We have one vision, one goal at School of Transformational Leadership. We are desirous of changing the world. But the way we want to change the world is by transforming the nation, one neighborhood at a time. But the change must begin with each of us as individuals. You must model dignity in your daily life. You must treat others with respect, with kindness, with fairness in your personal interaction. Small act of recognition and compassion ripples outward. People can see it. Just like I said, the blind can see it, the deaf can hear it. In conclusion, I know we've taken a while talking about human dignity. I really wish I can communicate this subject in my heart even far more than the way I have communicated it. But then I want to leave you with this wonderful quote from Maya Angelou. And I want you to take it so seriously. Maya Angelou says, have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them happy. Dear family and friends, what effort are you making to make somebody happy today? I will see you next time. Keep pushing the boundary. Keep respecting human dignity. Let's join our hands together and fight this common cause. And I will see you on the other side of victory. God bless you. Thank you. Bye-bye.